Okay, so you're ready to start having some courageous conversation in your relationship. Hooray! That's awesome. That is fabulous news. I do recommend downloading my free relationship communication guide, which gives you even more details about how to go and structure a courageous conversation. One of the other key elements of having these courageous conversations is to incorporate what's known as active listening. Active listening is not waiting for the other person to shut up so you can say what you want to say. It is actually tuning in to what they are saying to you and then sort of paraphrasing and repeating back to them what it is you think they mean. This is not a time for you to justify or try to fix something. This is simply about getting the information out so that both of you have a clear understanding where the other one is coming from. So often in conversation, when one person voices an issue or a problem or a difficulty, the partner tends to want to go into fix-it mode and wants to sort of come up with, okay, well, let's do this and let's do this, or it brings up a lot of defensiveness. Neither of these things are very helpful when having courageous conversation, especially when we're trying to develop active listening. And it takes practice. So the idea is that you let your partner speak, and then you take a few seconds to digest what it is that they have shared with you, and then you ask sort of for clarification. So what I'm hearing is that, what you're saying is that, I understand that what you're feeling is, and you fill in what it is that they've just shared with you. And then you ask, did I get that right? Is there anything else you want to add? This allows this sort of a calming effect to happen in your communication, because now instead of being on different pages and feeling like I'm saying one thing, they're saying another thing, nobody's listening to what the other person is saying, you're making a concerted effort to sit there and listen, and the only way that you're going to be able to repeat back to them what it is they've said to you is if you actually listen. Now, when I say this is going to take some practice, I want you to keep in mind that it may not go perfectly the first time you try it, and honestly, I don't know that perfect is the goal. What I really want you to do is get tuned in to listening with an active sort of point of view to know what your partner is feeling and thinking. And here's the other thing. You don't have to agree on everything. It's actually possible that your partner could say something, and as you're hearing them, you're like, wow, I really don't agree with that. But instead of taking that moment to tell them why they're wrong or to disagree or to give them your opinion, you're intentionally sitting there listening to what they have to say. It's interesting to me how all my years as a couples therapist, one of the biggest things I hear from people in relationships is that they just wish their partner would listen. Sometimes they don't want their partner to go into fix-it mode. They don't want to hear the defensiveness. They don't even want to have the partner take responsibility for anything in a lot of cases. They just want to be heard. And I would venture a guess that you're very similar. You just want to be heard sometimes. And so as you're imagining what it would be like to set up these courageous conversations using active listening, it's important to maybe start the conversation about how you want to structure the conversation. You both need to be on the same page. You don't want to spring it on each other. You want to say, hey, look, I've got something I want to try. Can we sit down sometime and have a really heart-to-heart conversation? I want to try some new techniques or some new tactics. Go through the relationship communication guide together so that you're both aware of what you're trying to achieve. And then this is where relationship compassion comes in so handy. That ties in really a lot with relationship empathy. The idea that you can put yourself in your partner's shoes to see where they're coming from, even if you don't agree, and that even if this process of developing courageous conversation doesn't go perfectly at first, you're not counting it out as something you should never try again. You're more tuned in to saying, okay, well, let's keep practicing. Let's keep trying this. And I have so many more suggestions and tips and tools that I want to bring to you about relationship communication. And I do want to hear what questions you have as you start implementing courageous conversation and active listening.